Hi, my brilliant scholars. So Stokes and I are here to work on some math with you. So this is a screenshot, a printout of a screenshot that I took from one of your upcoming Zern lessons. Some of you have gotten past this lesson. That's awesome. You don't need to watch the rest of this video. But for those of you that need a little bit of additional support with this, I hope this is helpful. All right, you need to bear with me a little bit because when I'm writing, it's going to go down here. But I promise to show you everything that I'm working on step by step, all right? So the first thing that I notice when I'm reading this is it says write 1/10 times 1.7 using fractions, all right? So I'm gonna think about this. First of all, obviously I know I need to turn it into fractions. So I'm gonna think about it in terms of how 1/10 is already in fraction form, right? That's what a fraction looks like. So that's easy. I'm just gonna put 1/10, right? But now I need to think about 1.7. So if I think about this, I'm going to think about it two different ways. I'm going to show you both ways. The first is 1.7. 1.7 can be broken up into 1 whole and 7/10, right? Now I know that 1 whole 1 is the same as 10/10, right? Because if I have one cake and I cut it 10 times and I eat all 10 pieces, I've eaten 1 whole cake. 10 out of 10 is the same as 1. And then for 7/10, well, that's saying that I have 7 out of 10, right? So, in other words, making a quick tape diagram. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You'll have to excuse the, I know it's not perfect, but if I have something cut into 10 pieces, 7/10 or 0.7 means 7 of them are shaded, right? So here I have 1 whole, 7/10 shaded, and then I have another 1 whole, where, again, broken up into tenths, but the whole thing is shaded. So I have 10/10 and another 7/10. So that would be 17/10, and that's how I would write that. Another way to think about this, if we remember our place value chart, ones, tenths, hundredths. Here, I made a quick place value chart with ones, tenths, and hundredths. And 1.7 would go there, right? And so I can already see that I have 7/10, but remember that as I'm going from this to this, every time I go this way, 1 becomes 10, right? Because there are 10/10 in 1 whole. So if I take this 1 and I put it into the tenths column, now it becomes 10/10. And that means, how many tenths do I have? I have 17/10, right? 17/10. That means that, again, this is how I would write 17/10, 17/10. Now, how would I solve this? Now, I'm multiplying fractions, which means I'm going to multiply across. So now, I'm going to actually flip this to the back. I have 1/10 times 17/10. Right, 1/10 times 17/10. If I multiply across, this will become 17 out of 100, because 1 times 17 is 17, and 10 times 10 is 100, right? And then if I think about, well, how am I going to put this back into decimal form? If I go back to my place value chart, and again, I have ones, tenths, remember the ths, hundredths, Well, how many hundredths do I have? I have 17 of them. Meaning, if I have 17, I can take that and say I have 10 hundredths and 7 hundredths. Do you see that? How I broke up the 17 hundredths into 10 hundredths and 17 hundredths? And what do I know about if I have 10 hundredths? Well, if I have 10 of anything, I can move it into the next column. And it will become 1 in the next column, right? So now I'm going to have what? 1/10 and 7 hundredths. So when writing this, I still have no wholes, but I have 1/10 and 7 hundredths. So when I'm thinking about it in decimal form, it will look like that. All right, so I hope that was helpful.